Next up is the only game I actually complete in this episode, Disney's Herbie Fully Loaded for the Game Boy Advance. This is one of those cases where I actually bought the game with the intention of making a video out of it. I was thinking, I really need to do more than just the 1 GBA game, and this was cheap. I remember the old Nintendo Official Magazine UK giving it an abysmal score, so I thought it could be interesting. I did see the film this game is based on when it was new in 2005. At 12 years old, I think this was the film that made me realise films could be bad. Like, obviously I'd seen films I didn't like before this one, but Herbie Fully Loaded was the earliest one I can remember just thinking, this is bad. I haven't seen any other Herbie films or even remember much from this one. Compared to everything else this episode, this will be very straightforward. You have a story mode that starts me on the downtown race with just an awkwardly taken screenshot of Lindsay Lohan, I don't remember the character's name, giving Herbie some encouragement. It's a basic racing game. You've got accelerating and you've got drifting, very simple. The game is kind enough to flash the direction I should be turning beforehand, so I'm not always looking at the map in the corner. There's oil slicks on the track and items represented by stars. Red stars allow you to cheat by throwing tyres at races in front, basically the green shell from Mario Kart. Touching a yellow star automatically turns Herbie around for a bit and speeds him up, and green stars make him jump. However, I'm still not used to how he handles and only come third. Losing a race boots me back to the menu. The big issue I had first time was that I kept missing all the stars. This time I do my best to get as many as I can and I quickly take first place. The last star, the blue one, is another speed boost. But it's like the Mario Kart mushroom in that I can save it and use it whenever I want. The track itself is very simple, just shaped like an uppercase D. I pretty much stay in first place for the entire race and win easily. Every race I win in story unlocks me a new track for free play. We get told we're a great team for the Pro Racing Oval track. What the fuck is that screenshot they took of her? Why that face? The oval is the simplest track in the game. It's an oval. Aside from a couple oil slicks, there's nothing else to talk about. Once I take first place, I keep it until I win. It isn't even close. We really took them for a ride. Is this how the story of the film went? I don't remember much, but I'm sure there was more substance than this. Next track is a city harbour. Let's keep them in the rear view. There is no rear view in this game. This is the most complex track so far, but that's just because it's the first one where I have to turn in both directions at certain points. Not even my habit of going off track at every possible point keeps me from staying in first place all race. After I win this time, I'm praised by the guy from Road Trip. Thank you, the guy from Road Trip. Next is Desert Race. That looks nothing like a desert. Jesus Christ, what's happened in the transition? What did you do, Herbie? Well, the first new track of Herbie's Mad Max-esque spin-off is simple. It's less complex than the previous track. There's one track at the beginning that might be a tiny bit tricky, but that's it. Once again I keep a massive lead and become lord of this wasteland. Why does every screenshot of Lindsay Lohan taken for this game just have a look confused? Maybe she's wondering how we went from Nuclear Apocalypse to Boulevard Racing. Nah, she's got over it. Let's burn rubber, Herbie. You've burned everything else, what's left? Okay, I'm ending that now before it gets old. This track is about 50% straight line followed by a lot of turning. The turns can be tricky and I do crash doing them a lot. This gives me my first loss since my first attempt. I must admit, when it kicked me back to the menu, I was shitting myself thinking I have to start the entire story again. But it's fine, it saves where I am. This time I'm used to those turns and I win. We're a great team, we've already had this. 5 tracks and you're reusing dialogue already? And who the fuck are you? You haven't done shit, this is all me. Next track is Mountain Valley, where I need to impress this new guy with his soulless black eyes. This almost feels like a reverse City Harbour, with the long protruding part of the map on the opposite end. I'd say the trickiest part is that last wiggle before turning towards the finish line. I struggle a bit at first, but eventually get a ridiculous lead and win once more. It's not always who is the fastest, it's who pulls the most tricks. Is Herbie telling me this? Can he speak English? It's also a load of bollocks, there's no trick system in this game. Next is Waterfront Race. I must be a stupid arsehole because I am not following this story at all. The top end of this track is shaped like a butt plug, just getting that out of the way. Other than that, this is another easy track where I keep the lead all race. This is Sonic Drift all over again. I wouldn't look that self-satisfied, it's not that difficult. Next is Amusement Park. This track sure is a track. There's nothing else to say here, I don't even have a joke based on its shape. I get first place and keep it forever. Except for one scary moment near the end, but I take it back. Apparently that was the final race and we won the trophy. Look at Herbie when you talk to him, show some manners. And then it's just the credits. We're not done yet though, but based on that story mode, I'd just say the game was very average and was going to rank it in the same place as the likes of Sonic Drift, for being bare bones but inoffensive. But there's Championship mode. It's your basic Grand Prix mode, win points based on your position and finish the last race with most points to win. Easy is the tracks exactly as they were in story mode. I win all 8 tracks in first place to be told, "Congratulations, you have won. Game over." That's all. It's on the higher difficulties that tracks change. Slightly. First is hard. Downtown Race just looks like someone punched the original track in the face and dented it. There's just one big turn and a couple little wiggles near the bottom of the map. Another change for hard mode is that I now have to do 4 laps for every track. This gets annoying because it makes things take longer than they should. Pro Oval Racing is almost exactly the same, except for these annoying walls you have to zigzag through at the top and bottom of the map. I didn't see them coming and massively ate shit the first time. It completely ruined me and I came last. It doesn't even give me bad points, it kicks me to the menu and makes me start the championship from the beginning. I still struggled with those walls the second time though. I just barely managed to take first place at the last second. City Harbour looks almost exactly the same, nothing else to say. Desert Race just put in this big turn about halfway through, also not much to say. I take my old insane lead and keep it. Boulevard Racing also didn't change much. The only thing I can tell just by looking is an extra little dip on the bottom. I mess up a lot on the first couple laps, but still managed to pull off the win by the end. Mountain Valley has a little growth in the bottom right corner, nothing too interesting. Another one where I only take first place near the end of the final lap. I'm starting to slip. Waterfront Race, I can't really tell any huge difference just looking at it, except for this bastard stretch of walls near the beginning, borrowed from the oval, though not as bad. But it doesn't keep me out of first place very long. Finally, Amusement Park has this triangular dip on the bottom right corner of the map. Another easy win. Even when I fuck up with a huge crash near the end, I've gained such a huge lead I'm never in any danger of losing, and I get the same message I got for clearing easy. But now comes Extreme, which is what alerted me to the game's biggest flaws. Downtown Race got punched in even further. The developer of this game is British, so I wonder if the cock shape on the map was deliberate or not. But other than that, this track is still very easy. But now I have to race 5 laps. That's 40 laps of the entire thing. Now the extreme version of Pro Oval Racing is where my patience gets tested. By this point I'm accustomed to those walls, except for the fact there's now a bastard oil slick that's a nightmare to dodge halfway through. There's now a few more on the halfway point that some dickhead rams me into. There's also another turn at the 3/4 mark. Thing is, I just can't get very far because I reach these walls and the AI just knocks me around into the perfect spot to waste time. So I come 4th, which still boosts me to the menu. The exact same thing happens next time, so I just quit. 3rd try, things go the same way. Every time, it's either the oil slick or catching a wall trying to avoid it. But somehow, on my 8th try, I finally get it down and keep first place for almost the entire race and win. Then I remembered I still had 6 more tracks left. City Harbour mainly adds a few more turns about 3/4 in, but is otherwise very easy, so I win with little trouble. Desert Race's new change is a big turn added close to the start. Like City Harbour, it's another easy one and I dominate. Boulevard Racing didn't change much, a couple of those walls near the beginning but nothing hard. At this point I just end up thinking the oval is the outlier and everything else is fine. Even Mountain Valley, which had me worried thanks to the final turn being incredibly sharp and constantly having me driving over grass, I still win. But then Waterfront Race. Starts with a sharp turn, then the dickhead walls again. They hold me back for a while, but I finally make it to first in the 4th lap. But then those fucking walls. They're surrounded by grass too, which slows me down even if I avoid the walls. They're impossible to drift between, if you're human. The AI can do it no problem. I'm in 2nd place near the end on the final lap, and I nudge one little corner and spin out. Even coming 3rd kicks me out of the championship. I'd got 1st place 6 races in a row and was leading in points. There was no way I was losing by points, but it still undoes my progress for not coming 1st in one race. This was the moment I soured on the game. This one decision killed any goodwill towards it. Imagine in Mario Kart, you're leading by points in the Grand Prix, but because you come 3rd on the last race it just fucking kicks you out and makes you start again. Load of fucking bollocks. It doesn't help that I have to slog through 5 laps every time too to try and reach where I was last. Then I learned that the game allows you to continue if you come in 2nd place, so it wasn't some fuck up making it 1st or nothing, this was a deliberate decision. So what's with the bullshit of ending it just to 3rd? It's one of the shittiest possible ways to artificially extend the game. I was furious. It took me another 2 hours worth of attempts to pass the race to the game's ridiculous standards. A single 5-lap race is about 5 minutes long by the way. You're repeating about half an hour just for coming below 2nd in the 2nd to last race. But they show some mercy for Amusement Park. This track is still very simple and easy and I keep my lead all race. But it doesn't stop me from bricking it the entire time. And so I win this one and beat the difficulty. But I didn't feel satisfaction, just relief and the feeling I had 3 hours unnecessarily taken from me trying this difficulty. All for the same message. I said before that this game would have been ranked around Sonic Drift before I started Extreme. While playing Extreme, I was trying to keep a cool head. I don't like to base a game's ranking on an optional hard difficulty. It's why Uncharted got away with a lot of bullshit in crushing difficulty. But as soon as I discovered the way the game undoes your progress just for coming third, even if you're still winning, that was it. That's something that affects the entire game, and so the game started dropping down the ranking. That one gameplay decision got Herbie Fully Loaded to dethrone Game Boy Mortal Kombat at the absolute bottom of the ranking. It's a big shame. The base experience is playable, if mediocre, and the game has decent but not great graphics and music. But that one gameplay decision ruins my entire image of the game. Sure, it's more playable than the 8-bit MK1 ports and the Master System Altered Beast, but as I've said before, this is not an objective ranking. It's purely emotional, and it made me dislike this game more than any of those others.